what would we call it, Alpina Tribute.
Yep.
Beautiful car. I spotted this up at collecting cars and coffee get together, I guess you could call it, huge get together up in Auckland, and I was just drawn straight to it. I always go straight to red cars. They're just real standout.
Faster, mate. That's why.
Yeah, but I mean this suits its colour too. Is this the original?
This is
red?
original paint.
Yeah. You could almost call it a full rebuild in a way, couldn't you, with what you've done? There's not much you haven't done.
Not much I haven't touched so far.
Yeah.
But still got a few things to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically started its life as a 525E.
Yeah.
And when I had bought it, it had the manual conversion done. And then I went on a bit of a journey with it and decided that I was deep into Alpinas and couldn't afford an actual Alpina B7.
Yep.
So I decided to build a bit of a tribute to them. And the M20 is such a great little motor for what it is. And I never used to be a fan of them, to be honest, until I owned one. And then I decided that I really loved it and hooked up with that guy Mike Weatherford. And he sold me one of his engines that he had built with higher compression and forged cams, forged pistons and cams and all sorts of stuff in it. So it does have a race cam in it. And then helped me put it in as well. So we pulled out the old M20, put the new one in, and put the ITBs, which I'll pop
yes, yeah.
Because I want to drive it, I don't want to be so precious about it that I never want to take it out of the garage.
Yeah. So you're saying that you're having a carbon intake made up to cover the...
So this is cool and awesome for the sound,
yeah.
But from a practical point of view, like coming back from cars, coffee in cars, it pissed down with rain, you know, and it's kind of like, well, what do you do when it's like this? Luckily though, I mean, there's nowhere really for water to get in, essentially. But
just the element of risk and thinking
risky.
about it.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't filter what's going in there either, so you've got to be mindful of all that stuff. And I mean, Absolutely. It looks lovely. Yeah. And they still run those trumpets inside the airbox.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So it will alter the sound a little bit, but the guys at RHD and Aussie, they actually sell this kit with a carbon plenum that goes on top. Yep. And then it sort of points the air intake down here, so we'll be able to get a bunch of cold air from the front there. Yep. It's running a Link, which all got wired in by the guys at D-Tech.
Yep.
They did a wonderful job just making it look OEM. I said I didn't want it to be de-loomed or anything like that. I wanted it to still have the wires and look OEM, so they've done a wonderful job, used the original fuse box. I mean, I've still got lots of things to do, like I need to make a new bracket for that and get some brackets to hold these.
So can they remotely make changes? Is it D-Link? Can they remotely make changes to the tune? Or
I don't know.
Because I think there is that capacity, but it may not be a given that that's what it is, you know.
Yeah, it is running a Link Fury, so I mean it's pretty common.
I'm pretty sure
these days, so they probably could dial in and changes.
Because I did a video on a guy over in Tauranga with a couple of O2s, and one of them's a race car that used to belong to Peter, who I'm going to see next, and he's got that set up in that, and they can basically dial into it from anywhere and make incremental changes if he's
Which I will need, because when you get the plenum on there, it's going to change the way the air flows and stuff. So
well, that'd be interesting
to make that change.
Yeah, interesting to find out.
But like I've got this aluminium radiator, which is an E36 radiator, because I wanted to keep the the coolant reservoir as part of it. I didn't want to have, because these come as standard with a great big coolant reservoir out here, which is quite ugly.
So it's all part
and parcel of the same unit.
Yeah, it's very tidy.
Yeah, I mean, this all needs tidying up still.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
So nice with the older engines, how you can see everything. Like now, it's just a cover.
It's so good, isn't it?
Modern motors.
Yeah. So this is running M54 coil over plug, and then we custom made that bracket to go on there too.
Oh yeah.
so that they fitted in nicely and it all looked sort of OEM plus type style.
Yes, yeah.
And just need to tidy out the wiring and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, got a bunch of cool stuff like this. Those are Kobe M20 extractors.
Oh yeah.
Originally for an E30, they didn't make any for an E28, but they had those off the shelf for an E30 and Speed Factor modified those to get them in to fit around the steering box. The steering box is the biggest issue with this engine bay, is because it's so large.
Yeah.
And I did investigate at the time going to a rack, but it's a bit of a major, so I steered clear of that.
Yeah.
And then full custom stainless steel exhaust all the way through after the headers. That's probably the other cool thing is the Tesla brake booster.
Oh yeah.
It's, you can see, like if I had a diaphragm booster here, it would clash with that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I went with the e-booster.
Yeah.
And that's what caused all the dramas.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really dramas per se, it just caused a lot of learning.
Yeah.
And sort of piloting with the certification guys.
Bit of an unknown to them, so they wouldn't have known where to begin really.
Exactly, yeah.
And yeah, like you're saying before, because is this the same trim that's in your 320?
I've got the Alpina.
Yeah. So both of our 320s have got this Alcantara trim, so pretty cool to actually see it retrofitted in a classic.
Yeah.
It looks so good. Well, like it just shows you good design. Like that's a nice, quite a classic upholstery, I suppose you could say. So it's sort of, it doesn't look out of place, you know.
I stopped short of sort of putting the Alpina, because Alpina normally have a stripe through them. Everything on here is genuine Alpina pretty much.
Yeah.
Like the wheels, even these caps are genuine.
Yeah.
The stripes, I brought those from Alpina in Germany.
Alright.
Front lip is not genuine. I went for a cheapie for that one because I know what New Zealand roads are like.
Yeah.
And I knew it would probably get demoed at some point, so I was like, I'm not going to spend massive money on that front lip.
Yeah.
But the replicas are actually pretty good quality. The rear, the duckbill spoiler on the back that's genuine Alpina. So yeah.
Did all the Alpina bits, apart from the wheels, where'd you say the wheels came up from?
They came up from
Christchurch.
Yeah, I got lucky on finding those.
Yeah, and did you get those refurbed in that?
They were blasted and painted.
Yeah.
I got the barrels done in black, so it just made the spokes stand out a bit further, a bit more. But yeah, I had a friend of mine custom make these adapter plates. These are 3D printed.
Oh, cool.
Because I made the mistake early on, I bought these Alpina wheels thinking, oh, perfect Alpina wheels.
Yeah.
I wanted the exposed lug look.
Yeah.
And these wheels, I believe, are off an E36, which I think they call them like a soft line.
Oh, yeah.
And so with the soft line wheel, it's made to have the cover.
Yeah.
You know, that goes over it, and everyone will recognise that cover.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But what it meant is when I bought these genuine centre caps, they don't actually fit the soft line wheel.
Yeah.
The only thing that fits the soft line wheel was the cover.
Yep.
Yeah. And so that's why I had to get my mate to make up those adapters that go on there.
It's funny once you start doing things, you go, I'll just do this, and now I have to do this, and now I have to do that, and then to make it all work.
Yep, that happens for sure.
It's when you see wheels on, especially cars from the ages kind of thing, and you see different wheels, sometimes it's hard to place what they're off originally.
Yep.
They just look right, you know.
Yeah, and I've got those. So those are those E36 M3 Evo.
Yeah.
Brake calipers in the front too.
Oh yeah.
What I did, I actually just about bought a set of the, the F series Brembos.
Yep.
You know, the blue ones.
Yep.
I brought a set of those
to
fit, and the rear, the rear went on just fine.
Yeah.
But the front didn't quite fit.
Ah, yeah.
And so it was going to mean a lot of fabrication to get them to fit in there.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's just not worth it, eh?
Yeah, so this is a sort of a tried and true setup that I'm running now.
Yeah.
A lot of the E28 guys overseas run the 540 brakes. front and rear, and I've gone with cross drilled as well, so
Yeah.
just a little bit nicer on the eye.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and this exhaust, stainless from the downpipes right through to the back.
Yep.
So that's all adding to the lovely sound as well.
It sure does. Yeah, it's not too loud, which is really nice.
Yeah.
The whole thing had to get certified really, because I guess the biggest thing was that I'm running a Tesla brake booster.
All right.
So it's like an e-booster setup, and so the cert guys, I think it must have been one of the first times I'd ever seen a retrofitted e-booster into a different car.
Yeah.
I'm told that e-boosters are pretty common, especially in hot rods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But to see a Tesla one retrofitted into BMW
And for the road.
Yeah. So that took a little bit longer. I had to write a big application letter, form 4C, I think is what they call it.
Yeah.
Send it down to LVVTA Wellington and get their approval and meet as a committee. And
Yeah. So you've sort of set the bar, set the precedent.
yeah,
kind of
I've
thing.
done the hard work for everyone else.
They should be paying you.
Yeah. It's got adjustable suspension in it, and obviously engine has been modified quite heavily. Manual gearbox.
What?
Z3 diff as well, so
Oh yeah.
and bigger brakes, 540 brakes.
Oh yeah. So you've just brought everything up to more sort of modern performance kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still got a lot of feel to it though.
So the best of all worlds.
I think it's E34 540 brakes. They bolt straight on.
Yeah.
I managed to get real lucky and found a guy that was selling some E36 M3 Evo front calipers.
Yeah.
And that bolt pattern is the same too, so they went straight on with the 540 discs.
BMW seems quite good for that. Like I think a lot of people think they've sort of lucked it, but a lot of the parts seem to transfer over to.
There's a lot of
chassis.
interchangeability. Yeah, which is awesome because you
is.
can get later model stuff and chuck it on this old stuff, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, well I guess they've engineered things so well with different models, you know, why change that thing that they've engineered so well?
Works.
So, yeah.
If it works, yeah.
And it's more efficient just to keep using something that works and to redesign it. So.
Yeah. So I had to get all that certified.
Yeah.
And everything, honestly, it was a pretty straightforward process. The only niggly thing was that booster.
Right.
And just making sure that was going to work
Yeah.
in the event of a failure. So
Right.
that was the main thing, is that it still worked when it didn't have power to it. But you know, the bolt pattern for where it bolts onto the firewall, that all is exactly the same as a Tesla Model S.
Right.
So yeah, got really lucky. Found a dude out in Raglan that had bought a whole bunch of wrecked Tesla parts in a container,
Yeah.
and he just so happened to have one.
And what's the just the way it performs? That's the reason for the choice.
There was only probably a small part of it. The main reason was because of the way the M20 sits, and then you've got the trumpets that come off the ITBs. That was going to clash. You know, the one at the closest to the firewall was going to clash to with any of the other booster setups that could go in there, like a vacuum booster.
Yeah.
So you were going to be forced to sort of modify that M trumpet a little bit to make it all fit and work and not touch.
Yeah.
It's a cool setup, like to have an electronic booster, you know. The guy Mike Witherford, it was his engine that he built for his 325, I think it was a 325, and he wasn't using it, and so it's got forged pistons and a high compression and all sorts of stuff going on with it. And I actually ended up buying that off him, and he helped me put the engine in, and it was really cool actually. I got to do the whole process, you know, because I'm not a mechanic.
Yeah.
But he is.
So when you're working alongside somebody, it's
It's so much better.
Yeah.
Like he's like the M20 guru. Like anything M20, he knows shitloads about, man. He's pulled so many out, put so many in, and pulled them all apart. And I mean, even now he's rolling around in a S54 powered E46 Touring, which is a really cool car. So yeah, he's really knowledgeable. It was a massive help to me getting this thing up and running too. So that was his engine that I bought off him, And I had done about 5,000 k's or something like that. It was only just run in. I was on light water.
Yeah.
And then I bought that. There's a crowd out of Aussie called RHD.
Right.
I think it stands for Race Head Design. And he makes the ITB kits
Right.
for all the BMW engines.
Yeah.
And I think some LS engines as well.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, beautiful piece of kit.
Yeah.
Cost a bit of money.
Yeah, yeah.
But lovely bit of kit.
Yep.
And
that's the main thing I just was drawn straight to when I was up at the Cars and Coffee thing, and you had your bonnet open. Like, it's just a showpiece.
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's actually pretty impractical. I'm ordering a carbon gearbox with a filter because
that's going to change the sound again.
It will change the sound a bit, yeah, for sure.
That raspiness kind of.
I guess the saving grace is that I hardly drive this car, you know, like it's more a showpiece for me. I love having it in the garage to look at.
Yeah.
And I'm always working on it too. I've still got so many things I want to do. I want to rebuild all the steering, all new bushes, rebuild the steering box. I want to go to some M5 sized sway bars, front and rear.
Oh yeah.
So I've still got lots more I want to do on this car, you know.
Yeah.
They say, so you finish with it now, and I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm still going. But it's all time and money, you know, and I'm just as happy. I'm super stoked now that at least I can drive it, you know, like it's road legal.
Yeah.
I can go out and drive it, I can drive it to a show, I can take the kids for coffee Saturday morning, and that's the main reason I got the E28 for the 5 Series. Also, it was big enough to fit the family in if I wanted to, you know. Yeah. Redid all the interior. This is, these seats are from F Series.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wagon like our ones.
Ah.
And,
yeah, of course, they look familiar.
Yeah, I'm quite good friends with the guys at SD European, and so they happen to have like it was a 1 Series, I don't know what model that is, but they had manual, because I didn't want electric.
Oh yeah.
So they had manual sport seats.
Oh cool.
And these ones do nice, it's quite a nice thing, is that they've got the adjustable side bolsters.
Yeah.
So I've actually wired those in so you can kind of pump them up and let them out as you see fit.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
And then I had a local guy retrim the rear seat in the same fabric, so I grabbed the rear seat from SD's at the same time, and he took that fabric off and retrimmed the rear seat in the same, and he put the headrests in as well, because it didn't have headrests either.
Yeah.
He did an amazing job, absolutely amazing job. Yeah, and I redid the dashboard restorations up in Auckland, did the dash for me.
Yeah.
And they did a beautiful job too. None of this stuff is cheap though.
No,
you know,
no.
like, and that's the thing I've noticed. Everyone wants a cheap job, but if you get a cheap job, you just tend to get what you pay for. You do, mate.
Yeah. And you're doing it for yourself. So, you know, you're the one that's going to be using it and looking at it and, you know, being annoyed or being pleased by it. So.
And I am literally that deep in this car that I will never ever be able to sell it.
Yeah.
You know? But it's not about that for me. Like,
no.
I'm probably not, I haven't done it to make money or sell it.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful car. I love the Alpinas.
Yeah.
This is my tribute to it because I could never afford an Alpina.
Yeah.
Although looking at the amount of money I've spent on this, I probably could have bought an Alpina.
Yeah, it's funny how that works out. Yeah.
But in a lot of ways, this is kind of a little bit cooler because it's a bit more customised. You know, it's a bit more my style.
Yeah.
Everything in it is what I wanted, without bastardising a genuine Alpina. You know?
Yeah, it sings.
I love that sound.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
It sounds a bit better than a 2-litre diesel.
Sure does, eh? Sure does.
So what did this start life as?
This is an E28 525E.
Right.
The 525E was like the economy version.
Oh yeah.
And not economy as in spec,
Yep.
but economy as in it had a detuned M20 with lower compression, and so economy as in it was the best for fuel efficiency. And it came with a standard 4-speed automatic. And the guy I bought it off was from Tauranga actually. And he had already converted it with the manual conversion.
Well, that's handy.
And Speed Factor did that. So that was, I mean, it's always good when you get good shops to work on your cars. Especially Speed Factor, they did their suspension and they've done a number of other things. And so when you go to get a cert, they know that it's been done properly. That's how I bought it, was basically it had basket weave wheels on it, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a cool cruiser, it's manual. Had plenty of torque, lots of torque, but it just didn't have power. You know? So it wasn't exciting, it was just a cruiser. And then I just kind of got into this Alpina buzz, and I was like, right, I'm going to do this. Managed to get lucky and find some genuine Alpina wheels on Trade Me. Down in Christchurch, I think they were. And so got those sent up, blasted and painted, and then that was kind of how it all started. Got Speed Factor to do the adjustable suspension. So it's running XYZ coilovers.
That's what I got on my on my 20D.
I saw that, and
they're not too bad,
I actually, for what they are, I've been very, very impressed.
I think there was they didn't really tell me much, but I kind of get the feeling from the way mine behaved, is that there was almost a bit of a break-in period. So they were quite bit teeth grinding to start with, you could say, but they seem to have settled in and keeping real soft settings.
And you're daily driving that car too, you know, whereas this thing is not a daily driver for me. So it didn't worry me too much, but I've still been, I mean, they're still very soft and pliable, you know, but they provide a lot of feedback, which is cool. And so they did the install there. What happened next? Oh, that's when I hooked up with Mike actually. And I was originally going to do a turbo build because I was going to do like an Alpina B7 Tribute. And they came in as a turbo. And then he sort of didn't talk me out of it, but he said, you know, what would be real cool would be like ITBs. In a high compression build. And he already, you know, he just happened to have one there ready to go, and I just kind of grew that idea. I thought about it, and I was like, actually, nah, I love the intake noise. And sure, I don't get a lot of power out of this engine, but man, the noise is just intoxicating. It's just so cool. And it's still quick for what it is, like an old 5 Series. But it's nowhere near as fast as what a turbo M20 would be. But at least with your naturally aspirated, it's just you've got that linearity anyway. You're not waiting for turbo boost and all that, so there is that. Exactly, and it's so much more a driver's car, you know, like that, and that's kind of what I wanted.
My old 525 that I had, I went for induction sound on that because it sounded so good. Sounds just like that.
So Mike sold me his engine, and he volunteered to help me get the old one out, put the new one in. And at the same time, I'd ordered all those bits from RHD in Aussie. So they all turned up, and started just fluffing around with it in the garage. And then got it all ready to chuck in, and me and Mike did that in a couple of nights. Got a lightened flywheel and M3 clutch from Speed Factor. So that all went on it. And so did that, and then trailered it back over to Speed Factor. They did the exhaust, and then from there it went to D-Tech Motorsport in Tauranga as well, and they wired up the link.
That's Tony.
Tony. The guy that wired it, I think his name was Mark from memory, but man, he just did such a great job. I said, I want it to look OEM. I don't want it to be wireless. I want it to look nice, like an OEM finish, you know? And man, he delivered. Like it was, I mean, you can still see the wires, but they're all nicely sheathed, and you know, it looks really, really good.
Thanks so much for showing us around your
That's all
car,
good.
Nathan,
Yeah,
and
no worries. It's
yeah.
a pleasure to share it because it is a beautiful car. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, you should be.
Been 2 years of my life.
Yeah, and more ongoing, like upcoming.
Yep, and we'll
Yeah.
keep going because there's
Yeah.
still lots more I want to do. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a journey, but I'm very happy with how it looks and drives, and
Yeah.
even in its current state, it drives wonderfully. Everything's manual, so you know it's quite a different experience driving from the daily car that I drive. So
Yeah, driver's car.
yeah, it is cool.
We had to do this just for shits and giggles.